Hey there friends, I hope you had a Merry Christmas. As we get into 2024, I'm going to put out a video with some interesting predictions for you guys, maybe a couple videos. It's just been a really busy holiday season, so I haven't had a chance to do many of these, but I thought it would be fun to kind of get back into the swing of things, do a little video on what artificial intelligence thinks of you. Because as we get into 2024, AI is going to become a much bigger deal than it has been in the past. But first of all, for those of you who don't know what AI is, I found a very dumbed down clip to explain it to you.
AI is kind of a fancy thing. First of all, it's 2 letters. It means artificial intelligence. But ultimately what it is it's about machine learning. And so the machine is taught. And part of the issue here is what information is going into the machine that will then determine, and we can predict then, if we think about what information is going in, what then will be produced in terms of decisions and opinions that may be made through that process.
Unfortunately, for most people, artificial intelligence is going to take over their entire being, their way of thinking. The way we use cell phones and everything else these days for information, well, a lot of people are unable to think for themselves. When you talk to a lot of young people, they don't get much other than what is fed to them through those devices. Thinking about artificial intelligence and what it's teaching others, what information it's passing on to them, it's kind of a scary thing, because if you think about it, the only intelligence they're getting is what's been programmed to make them think a specific way. Anyway, artificial intelligence, what it thinks of you. I'm going to go state by state here and give you guys some images of what artificial intelligence thinks of the people who live in that state. And the main image I'm going to show is been programmed off of what Europeans think of people in the United States in each state. And then I'm also going to show you, based on dating preferences, what people are looking for in each state. And I thought this could be interesting, because then we'll be able to see how things might be changing in the future. Now, with any of these, if you guys are from these states, comment below and let me know if artificial intelligence has your state correct, okay? First up is Alabama. According to artificial intelligence, this is what most people in Alabama look like. This is your stereotypical guy from Alabama. It looks more like Phil Robertson before he made any money. Of course, the ideal boyfriend in Alabama is not this guy, it's that guy. And the ideal girlfriend is her. All right, Alaska. This is what they think of people in Alaska. Cold, wet, and happy. I don't have an ideal boyfriend or an ideal girlfriend for Alaska. That's all I've got for Alaska. Maybe Alaskans are just happy single. So according to artificial intelligence, people in Arizona love beer. As you can see from this image, the guy is surrounded by beer. This is your typical Arizonan, according to artificial intelligence. Ironically, the ideal boyfriend looks just like the other guy a few years younger. And the ideal girlfriend, it almost seems like they could be sister and brother. Are any of you guys from Arkansas? This is what artificial intelligence thinks of people from Arkansas. Not even really sure what to think of that. Of course, the ideal boyfriend in Arkansas is a little less blonde, but equally disheveled, and the ideal girlfriend is also disheveled. So maybe Arkansas is just disheveled. This guy looks pretty disheveled, if you ask me. California, when I think of California, I don't have a lot of good thoughts, to be honest with you. But the stereotypical Californian looks like this girl, too cool for school. Ideal boyfriend, got a nice little wave there. And the ideal girlfriend. I do have a couple stereotypes from California for you. Apparently, artificial intelligence believes that not only are people in California too cool for school, but artificial intelligence also seems to think that people in California are self-righteous. This is your stereotypical female and your stereotypical male. Colorado is the state of the nutty outdoorsman. If you're a nutty outdoorsman, raise your hand. The ideal boyfriend in Colorado is, of course, an outdoorsman. And the ideal girlfriend in Colorado is a brunette with green eyes. Sorry guys, I think I already stole the ideal girlfriend from Colorado. Connecticut, I actually have some experience with Connecticut because I had a lot of family from the Northeast. But the stereotypical Connecticut couple, you ready for this? just a little uptight. Of course, it probably wouldn't surprise you that the ideal boyfriend in Connecticut is also a little uptight. And of course, the ideal girlfriend. I could actually see these two as the old uptight couple in a few years. Delaware, when you think of Delaware, what do you think of? I think of old and crabby. Ooh, that's the wrong picture. Sorry. And the stereotypical AI version of old and crabby. Now, the ideal boyfriend in Delaware, or boy to date from Delaware, is, oh, no, not that one. Preppy and clean cut. Unfortunately, Hunter Biden, I don't think you fit the profile. Keep paying for it. And of course, the ideal girlfriend. I can honestly say that Delaware is in a state of transition. Now, I grew up in Florida. It's always interesting to see what artificial intelligence thinks of Florida, because having grown up in Florida, I know the stereotypical Floridian. This is what artificial intelligence thinks of the stereotypical Floridian. This looks more like a beached whale. They don't really have that many whales in Florida. Although I can honestly say that the beach bum appearance of this person probably reflects a lot of my friends from high school today. And of course, we have the ideal boyfriend and girlfriend from Florida. Enrique, you are still the perfect fit for Florida. DeSantis, I think you're falling out of favor though. Georgia, now we have a videographer that works with us every now and then from Georgia. He's actually not from Georgia, he's from Florida, moved to Georgia. Anyway, he's got a beard, he likes to wear kind of that older, you know, homesteader style clothing. So when I saw this artificial intelligence picture of the stereotypical Georgia guy, I actually thought it was pretty good. The Georgia peach, the kind of the older, classy looking farmer, and the beard. I mean, I think it all works for Georgia. And of course, some of you may not have the same impression of Georgia that I have. So the ideal boyfriend in Georgia is dark and handsome. And the ideal girlfriend, you know, I actually asked AI, what's the worst thing that ever happened to Georgia? The response was Fannie Willis. Hawaii, if there are still people in Hawaii, Hawaii's stereotypical image looks like this. Now this is just, so this is what Europeans think of the stereotypical Hawaiian. When artificial intelligence produced an actual image of a stereotypical Hawaiian, they looked a lot more Asian. So then you have the ideal boyfriend and then the ideal girlfriend. Idaho is one state I have not been to. So I don't even know what to think of this one, other than that's one really big potato. I mean, that's a big potato. I've heard of Idaho potatoes. I've eaten Idaho potatoes. I have never had a potato that size. The ideal boyfriend in Idaho apparently is very smart and intelligent looking with tattoos. Ladies also dig the bull ring in the nose so they can boss their man around, just yank them. And then of course your ideal girlfriend. So Illinois, I haven't spent a whole lot of time in Illinois. I've spoken to some farmers from Illinois, been to the Chicago airport, I've driven through Illinois many times. My daughter goes to college up there. So the stereotypical Illinois person, according to AI, looks a little bit like this. I guess if you're from Chicago, that's probably on par. But for the rest of the state of Illinois, I actually don't think it's very fitting. The ideal boyfriend in Illinois, handsome fella, and then the ideal girlfriend. They don't look anything like the European stereotypical version of somebody from Illinois. This is where the AI just gets a little weird, okay? Indiana. Indiana is one of those flyover states that I drive through a lot. I can see maybe parts of this, but this is just scary. It's like the Children of the Corn photo. And this is what cracks me up, is the ideal boyfriend actually looks like he can fit into that family. And here's the sweet ideal girlfriend before and after she marries the serial killer farmer. I've only been to Iowa a couple times, and from my experience, it's a lot of big at. You know, the middle-aged corn farmer, I can see how that fits in. Of course, the ideal girlfriend is a blonde in a wheat field. And the ideal boyfriend actually does look like a younger version of the middle-aged corn farmer. Kansas. What do you guys think of Kansas? The farmer carny? I don't think I completely get the farmer carny from Kansas thing, but apparently this is what European artificial intelligence thinks somebody from Kansas looks like. Your stereotypical Kansas man. The ideal boyfriend and the ideal girlfriend look more like the outdoorsy type from Colorado. except for Kansas doesn't have any mountains. Okay, so Kentucky, this looks like an older Sonny Perdue to me. It's an angry looking guy, very angry looking guy. Of course, the ideal boyfriend is a little more rebellious with tattoos, and the ideal girlfriend is a bit of a hipster. Something tells me the old ways of Kentucky are out of favor. Louisiana, Cajun crawfish party animals, woohoo! Of course, the ideal boyfriend is a lot more put together, and the ideal girlfriend is girl next door type. Now, artificial intelligence also did a workup of what a typical male and a typical female look like in Louisiana, so I thought I'd put these up next to the ideal boyfriend and girlfriend photos. Guys, I can see some similarities to what you can find there in Louisiana, but ladies, I think you're out of luck on this one. Maine's always an interesting one because it's the end of the Appalachian Trail. These two don't look like Mainers to me. They look like they came up from South Carolina, hiked the trail, and got stuck in Maine, which actually happens a lot. This is the type of thing that cracks me up about this stuff, is if you look at the ideal boyfriend and the ideal girlfriend, and you picture those two together, add a few years onto them after they've been out there in the Maine wilderness for a while, and I could actually see the similarities there. Maryland. Apparently, European AI thinks that Maryland is full of crabby frat boys. Of course, the ideal boyfriend and the ideal girlfriend are very unsimilar. Massachusetts. Whew. I think that's about right. And the younger version of him is actually the ideal boyfriend. And the ideal girlfriend seems about right for Massachusetts as well. There's nothing unusual about Massachusetts. That is what they look like. Michigan looks more like an oversized Wolverine. Of course, the ideal boyfriend is more like a football player, and the ideal girlfriend is more like a cheerleader. It's a good thing the Wolverines did good this year. Michigan is definitely a football state, although I wouldn't necessarily call it an oversized state. Minnesota, the young man still living with his mother for his mother's chili, sounds about right. And then, of course, you have the ideal boy from Minnesota and the ideal lady from Minnesota. Mississippi, this is one I don't get. Apparently Europeans think that people in Mississippi are a bunch of rednecks in courthouses. Of course, this could just be the fact that they're very argumentative, they like to make their point, and they consider themselves conservatives. Strange depiction though. Now ladies, this is what you envision your ideal boyfriend to look like. But I've got some news for you, because your stereotypical men from Mississippi will either look like this guy or this guy. And the ideal partner for him is her. Missouri. Whoa, barbecue. I've been to Missouri a lot, and I haven't seen that before. Ideal boyfriend in Missouri, an ideal girlfriend in Missouri. Those guys look like people from Missouri. Montana. Longmire meets Louis L'Amour. Nebraska is the aging toothless corn farmer. Ironically, the ideal boyfriend looks like a younger version of him. And this is what the ideal girlfriend looks like. Nevada is more like Fear Loathing in Las Vegas, but with a lot of age on them. The ideal boyfriend is a lot younger, a little clean cut with some edgy tattoos. The ideal girlfriend is just a little disheveled. Of course, guys and ladies, I hate to break it to you, but your stereotypical man in Nevada looks like this, and this apparently is what your stereotypical female looks like. New Jersey, according to artificial intelligence, the Sopranos have taken over New Jersey. Of course, everybody in New Jersey seems a little bit mobbed up. Your ideal boyfriend from New Jersey is a mobster. And this is the ideal girlfriend, although you're probably more likely to find this in New Jersey, just a little more mobbed up. Okay, we finally get to the freest state, New Hampshire. I have no idea what they're eating, but they look really happy, and that's because they're in the freest state. Freedom always comes with happiness, remember that. The ideal boyfriend looks like my ex-accountant from New Hampshire, and the ideal girlfriend looks very happy and hippie. New Mexico, whoa! I knew they had a breeding program out there. It wouldn't surprise you that the ideal boyfriend in New Mexico has alien features. And of course, the ideal girlfriend looks like the ideal girlfriend from every other state. New York, you guys are probably thinking, when you think of New York, you think Donald Trump or Don Jr., right? Well, this guy looks like Don Jr., but let's just see what the ideal male is, because Don, I think you are falling out of favor in New York City. Your ideal boyfriend in New York City and your ideal girlfriend in New York City. You want to see what the typical guy actually looks like in New York City. This is your stereotypical male in New York City, living a very sad life as a Yankees fan. And your stereotypical female, with a bit of confused fashion. Unfortunately, Don Jr., you're not well loved there anymore. 50 states is a lot to cover. Okay, so North Carolina, lonely frat boy with a barbecue. Looks like everybody I went to college with, including myself. I was a KA down in Charlotte. Ideal boyfriend is a lot more techie looking. That's because we're going big tech here. And the ideal girlfriend. She looks a little OBX to me, which OBX is a great place if you like fishing. North Dakota. Can't get a good look at this guy because he's swallowed in a sea of wheat. Ohio. Now I can attest to this because I have family in Ohio. They're not that size, but have you guys been to Ohio? Of course, the ideal boyfriend in Ohio looks more like somebody out of Twilight, and the ideal girlfriend is his sister. All right, so let's check out Oklahoma. Gun-slinging diva, train robbing. I really don't think this is what people look like in Oklahoma anymore. The ideal boyfriend is actually a skater, while the ideal girlfriend, again, is kind of like your girl next door thing. I'm picking up a theme here, guys. Oregon. I feel like Oregon is one of those confusing states because you've got like the new Idaho, Oregon, and then you've got like the old Portland, Oregon, where there's probably two very different types of people in Oregon. The artificial intelligence perspective of people from Oregon looks something like this. Clueless coffee drinkers in flannel. I actually met a guy from Oregon once, and this looks like his Instagram account. Only he had shorter hair, more of a Western look, but his wife looked just like that. So I don't know if these guys are from East Oregon or West Oregon, but that is the stereotypical viewpoint that artificial intelligence has of Oregon. Now, the perfect guy from Oregon walks around barefoot and bathes in a river. It is not Wrangler Star, although this guy could pass for Wrangler Star. The only difference would be that he's got to have that neck tattoo, kind of that edgy look to him, but the glasses for a little added fake intelligence. And of course, the ideal girlfriend from Oregon is kind of, it's nature's harmony. Unfortunately, guys, you're probably not going to find that in Oregon because according to artificial intelligence, this is what the typical girl from Oregon looks like, and I can totally see that one. Pennsylvania, the Dutch chocolate baby state, apparently. The ideal boyfriend actually does look like an older version of that baby, and of course, the ideal girlfriend could be his twin sister. Artificial intelligence thinks that Rhode Island is a frat boy yacht club. Reminds me of that movie Weekend at Bernie's. Did you ever see that? However, guys on Rhode Island, the ladies would rather have a real Islander sailor with tattoos. And for a girlfriend, the men would prefer something sweet and beachy. Black hair is preferred for both. South Carolina. Apparently, artificial intelligence thinks that it's a bunch of good old boys reliving their glory years. The ideal boyfriend in South Carolina is very similar to the frat boy in North Carolina. And while frat boys are in an abundant supply in South Carolina, the stereotypical male in South Carolina looks very different. And the ideal girlfriend is embracing the 80s. South Dakota. There's not much to say about South Dakota because all the people are swallowed in a sea of grass, apparently. Tennessee, the moonshine state. I've been through Tennessee many times and I can attest to this one. Of course, the ideal boyfriend looks like a younger version of our moonshiner. And the ideal girlfriend is simple and innocent. Artificial intelligence thinks of people in Texas as a John Candy gun-slinging deli fest. Of course, the ideal boyfriend in Texas is extremely tattooed up, and the ideal girlfriend is very southwestern. Utah. I just don't get it. Utah is a scary blonde family that all looks the same. There is no genetic diversity in Utah. And in fact, the ideal boyfriend in Utah is also blonde, and the ideal girlfriend in Utah looks just like him in blonde. Virginia. Artificial intelligence perspective of people from Virginia is old school. Of course, ladies today are looking for men without the fake wig, but something similarly flamboyant. And what men are looking for in Virginia is nothing traditional. Vermont. You know, Vermont is one of the prettiest places I have ever been. My family owned a farm in Vermont for 50, 60 years. So looking at the artificial intelligence perspective of someone from Vermont was actually rather shocking for me. This is Vermont. This is what we have to thank Bernie Sanders for. Thank you, Bernie. Washington, cold and wet. I think it may have taken it a little too far in this photo. Artificial intelligence seems to think that people in Washington, D.C. are a bit out of touch. Patriotic and out of touch. Sounds like Washington, D.C. to me. This is another one I don't quite understand. The genetically modified hog meets the inbred hog and the old man farmer. The ideal boyfriend looks like a typical hiker from West Virginia, and the ideal girlfriend is grounded in nature. Wisconsin. Now, when I think of Wisconsin, I think of people like Charlie Burns, but that's because I like watching his YouTube channel. The guy is freaking hilarious. This picture actually looks like a Charlie Burns, just with another 300 pounds on him. They really love their cheese in Wisconsin. Of course, the ideal boyfriend and the ideal girlfriend don't look like people from Wisconsin to me at all. If you are looking for one of these ideals in Wisconsin, I hate to break it to you, because the stereotypical guy from Wisconsin looks like a broke Charlie Burns. And ironically, the stereotypical female looks just like Charlie Burns' wife. If that actually is his wife, I'm not sure how he identifies. Finally, we get to Wyoming. This is just a classic quick in the dead moment. There is no ideal boyfriend and no ideal girlfriend for the state of Wyoming. We like to keep it open there. Anyway, I hope you guys had as much fun as I did looking at some of these pictures, because it gives you a glimpse. You know, if artificial intelligence is taught the information that goes into it to then perceive, this is how artificial intelligence perceives people from these states. If it were to come up with an image of what people look like from those states, this is what artificial intelligence thinks of. If you're from those states and it doesn't look like people from there, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. I'm not the one who came up with it, I'm just a messenger. This is coming from artificial intelligence. I disagree with some of these pictures. Some of them I find rather interesting. In any case, I look forward to more As a Man Thinketh in the new year, and whatever you do, don't be a stereotype.